Hi, good afternoon, it's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. Guys, a couple of things coming up in this video. We've got the May and June's data from Arizona in yesterday. It's been processed and put up on poleshiftnews.com. We're going to take a look at that in a minute. We're going to talk about this Neutron detector as well, because if you remember in a couple of videos ago I said I was inquiring as how much one of these costs, because I thought maybe we'll swap over to Neutron detectors to see how much cosmic rays we're getting, or we could at least add these as well. We'll talk about that in a little short while. Before we do get on with this, big thanks to those that are supporting the observatory and continue to do so. I know it's not easy at this time, you know, with all what's going on in the world with this pandemic and everything else, but you know, I just want to say big thanks to you guys for helping to support what we do here at the observatory. And I know you wouldn't do it if you didn't think it was worthwhile and for a good cause. So, you know, thumbs up to you guys. Give yourselves a pat on the back. And you know, if you want to make a you know, a bit of support for the channel, a bit later on I'll mention the link down in the description and you can do so. Okay, well, I've just had back the quote for this device and I want to talk about it a little bit. They use, obviously, as you can read, silicon photomultipliers like our muon detectors. This is for detecting protons, which is a lot bigger particle than a muon. And you know, you would think if they are asking £2,182 per unit for these, how much would our muon detectors cost if a manufacturer built them? And simply, obviously, we're not going to pursue this unless we win the lottery at some point. So it's just priced us clearly out of the market of using neutron detectors. I've got to admit, I thought about £400, £500 at the most. I might have brought one at that money and you know, sent it out in the field. If they'd been cheaper, you know, I probably brought a couple, but they're just at that kind of money, completely out of our range. We're not going to get them. But it does make you wonder, doesn't it? It uses pretty much the same as what our muon detectors do. They use scintillation blocks, which is like a tuned piece of crystal that allows a certain wavelength of light to pass through it, and when it does, like a muon, it shows up a tiny little bit of light. And the silicon photomultiplier in the muon detector, which this device has as well, you know, converts, when it sees that light, it then converts it through a peak hold amplification part of the circuitry on the back of the thing, and you know, it then sends it through to the Arduino as a count and then gets recorded on the LCD. So it makes me wonder how much our muon detectors would cost. I mean, they cost me £200 to make. The most expensive part of the muon detector is the silicon photomultiplier, which is on there, and the second, probably most dearest part, is the scintillation block, which I pay around about £30 for. And then, you know, there is, as you know, a handful of components. Well, you just buy those in bulk. Some of them are, you know, like the DC booster. Those are around about £8 or £9, and you know, by the time you tot all this up, it's about £200 to build without your labour on. So you know, these things are, you know, expensive. You know, they detect a lot bigger particle than what we detect with the muon detectors. We're after a very small elementary particle. But there you go. If you're a millionaire and you fancy buying yourself one, well, you can find this company on the internet, and you know, you can, you know, if you want to, just send the data that you collect off it to us, and you know, we'll put it up on the website for people to view it. But it's shocking, isn't it, the amount of the cost of these things. We take it for granted. I mean, that is a one-off in the loft at home. The Trimax system, I haven't got a clue how much that would cost. There is only one in the world, and we've got it, and the only reason for that is because we built it. And the only reason we've got muon detectors now and magnetometers out in the field is because we build them. And obviously it is a way of getting in the game on the cheap. But nevertheless, even though I say on the cheap, it's still quite expensive. You know, you can't have, a lot of the time, you can't have just 1 and 2 PCB boards built. You have to have a minimum of a certain amount, like we did. and you know, these things get very expensive. So yeah, let's have a look at the data then in from Arizona. It's anomalous, as Scott said himself when he sent it. Very strange. Let's have a look at it. So here we are over at Pole Shift News, and as Scott said himself, who sent it from Arizona to us, it is very anomalous, as you can see. We'll just have a look at the month before, and we can see that it was riding around 36 to 37, or just crept over at 37 towards the end of the 4th, which would have been April, and you can see it went up just a couple of microteslas. Well, this month's sorry, what we've got to remember is this is May and June all in one go, and it is strange. It almost looks like it could have been knocked at the beginning of the month, because it was riding high in any case, around 50 microteslas. If we look at the way it ended the month before that, it ended just shy or just above the line of 37 microteslas. So interesting, very interesting. It was at 37, so it's gone up you know, to start with, and then there's a big drop, and then it slowly creeps back up. Now I think this could be data here, what we're seeing as it goes up a little bit and then down, but we are seeing the similar movements from other magnetometers that we've got, like in Australia, and we have seen something similar in Hong Kong on that data. So it'd be interesting just to keep an eye on what's going on with regards to that. We could be seeing some activity with the magnetic intensity in Arizona. We've just got to wait and see. It's always best to probably, I like to, you know, get as much data as we can probably, and then go over it all in one go. And you know, the more data we collect, I think there'll be a, you know, a trend in there over a longer period of time. So you know, it is new days for Arizona. They haven't had their Scott hasn't had his magnetometer, you know, I don't think now, what is it, 3-4 months, something like that, maybe 5 or 6 months. Let's say 5 months. It's coming up on nearly half a year, and you know, it's just a matter of just waiting and see what comes in as it does. But we are due usually today from Hong Kong, a data set. Another one of our superstars down there, Tony, usually sends it on the 4th, so I'm expecting that to come in as well today. If it does, I'll process it and pop it up on the website for you guys to have a look. And yeah, interesting. Just before we end the video, I thought it would be interesting just to see what's going on with the erupting volcanoes. I don't want you to think I'm cherry picking the data to show a certain trend. I never do that in any case. I usually just show it the way it is. And you know, I did a video on this a couple of days ago, didn't I, showing that there is 1/3 less volcanoes in eruption presently than there was 2 years ago. And that can be alarming, guys, because we know what happens when, you know, volcanic activity shuts down. You know, that's an indication of the core shutting down that produces the magnetosphere. And you know, I'm not saying that that is going to be the case. I'm just saying that it is noted that there is 1/3 less volcanoes actually in eruption today than there was 2 years ago, and we are overdue by 500,000 years. Sorry, by 500, yeah, 500,000 year. You know, the magnetic pole reversal. It doesn't look good, does it? When you stack all these things up, it looks like it is leading to something. And that's one of the reasons, you know, I've stuck at this for as long as I have, because I really believe that, you know, we're onto something very big here at the observatory. And I believe the anomaly that is taking place right now isn't just going to be something like, you know, that affects your needle. 1 minute your needle on your compass is pointing north, and when it goes for the reversal, it's pointing south. We know that that's not the case. We know that when the magnetosphere collapses as a result of a pole reversal, you know, we have no protection. And we already are at a point in time where our solar system, that usually has a nice inflated heliosphere that protects all the planets from, galactic cosmic radiation, is at an all-time low as well, due to the fact that we have now seen the third solar cycle continue in its trend to diminish, which means it could be the case that we don't even see solar cycle 25 get a start. It could be the case, and if we do, then it's going to be weak. And the main thing is, as I pointed out when we was looking at the cosmic ray data, is that solar cycle 24, even during the maximum, wasn't able to push enough of that galactic cosmic rays out of our solar system, and as a result we incurred more cosmic rays coming through to our atmosphere, interacting with the gases in our atmosphere. As a result, we also know it's carcinogenic. We also know that it affects cardiac arrhythmias and a lot of other things, guys. And it's not just something that affects human beings, it affects the whole of the biodiversity on the planet. So, it is really important. And I hope that we don't continually see a decline in the volcanic activity on our planet as well as a result. And I always, like I say, give this disclaimer, is that I'm only interested in the ones that are erupting or in eruption. I'm not interested in the ones that are, showing signs of eruption or erupted, or, showed signs weeks ago of eruption. I'm only interested in the ones that are active right now. And I think if we stick with that, that's our benchmark, and we come back time and time again to have a look, then maybe what we'll see is a continuation of this trend of active erupting volcanoes diminishing. And if that is the case, it's not going to be good news, guys. Okay, I'm going to leave it here. Mention the link down there if you want to help support us at the observatory. Big thanks to all you guys that are supporting us. You can join us on Patreon if you want to support us there, or you can do it on PayPal. It's entirely up to you. But at the end of the day, we need to be funded. This is a public observatory and a public funded observatory, and without those funds we simply can't do what we do. And we are trying to improve the amount of data that we have out in the field in different parts of the world, so that we get a clearer idea as to what's going on with the condition of these high intensity regions around the world, and how much protection we've got when we get the muon detectors out to them locations. So guys, have an amazing afternoon, and I'll say what I usually do. Bye for now.